Imagine holding a coin in your hand, something you've probably seen thousands of times before. A Washington quarter, dull from decades of circulation, maybe a little worn around the edges. You glance at the date, 1967. Nothing special, right? You toss it back into your pocket without a second thought. But what if I told you that very coin, that ordinary 1967 Washington quarter, could be worth not just a few cents more, but thousands of dollars? That inside that small circle of metal lies a story of history, mistakes, and rare moments of the U.S. Mint that turn everyday change into a collector's treasure. The 1967 Washington quarter was born during a fascinating period in American coinage history. Just 2 years earlier, in 1965, the U.S. Mint had made a major change. Silver was no longer used in dimes, quarters, or half dollars intended for circulation. Rising silver prices made the old coins too valuable to spend, so the mint transitioned to a copper-nickel clad composition. The 1967 quarter was part of this early era of clad coinage, struck without a mint mark, no matter where it was made, to discourage coin hoarding. The mints in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco all produce these coins, but the lack of a mint mark means we can't immediately tell where any given coin came from. This was also the time of the Special Mint Set program, replacement for proof sets during the mid-60s. These special strikes had a sharper, almost proof-like finish, and coins from these sets often look different from circulation strikes. That alone adds a layer of intrigue because sharp-eyed collectors sometimes find circulation coins that look suspiciously like Special Mint Set issues. But the real magic of the 1967 Washington quarter isn't in its general mintage. It's in the rare mistakes that slipped through. In a year when the mint was producing millions upon millions of quarters, even the most careful quality control couldn't prevent errors. Some of these errors are subtle. Others are dramatic enough to catch your breath the moment you see them. One of the most famous types is the double die obverse. Picture the lettering on the coin, Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date itself, appearing doubled, almost like a shadow or ghost image sitting slightly offset from the main design. This isn't damage from circulation. It's a true mint error caused when the die itself was made with two misaligned impressions. Double die quarters from 1967 are exceedingly rare, and in top condition, they can bring serious money. Then there are transitional and wrong planchet errors. Imagine a 1967 quarter struck not on a copper-nickel clad planchet, but on one left over from silver coin. While official silver quarters ended in 1964, mistakes happen, especially during years of transition. A 1967 quarter on a silver planchet would stand out immediately by its color and weight, and such a coin could fetch thousands in the right auction. Even more exotic are off-metal errors, such as a quarter struck on a dime blank, smaller and thinner than normal, but carrying the full quarter design, or on a planchet intended for foreign coinage. Collectors have also documented striking errors from that year. Off-center strikes where the design drifts so far it leaves a crescent of blank metal, broad strikes where the collar didn't hold the coin in shape, and die clashes where faint outlines of the reverse design appear on the obverse because the dies struck each other without a coin between them. Each error type tells its own story about the day it was minted, about the speed and pressure of the machines, the human oversight, and the tiny lapses that made these one-of-a-kind pieces. Some of the most thrilling finds come from the world of coin roll hunting. Picture this. A collector walks out of a bank with a few rolls of quarters, casually searching for silver coins from before 1965. Then, deep in the stack, a coin catches the light just a little differently. The date says 1967, but the metal gleams with that unmistakable white-silver tone, heavier in hand. A quick weight check confirms it. 6.25 grams instead of the standard 5.67. It's a silver transitional error, an accident from a bygone era, and it could be worth more than the entire bag of coins combined. Auction records tell just how high the stakes can be. A pristine 1967 quarter with a dramatic double die has sold for over $3,000. A silver planchet error from the same year? Upwards of $7,000, depending on grade and rarity. Even less dramatic errors, minor off-centers, clipped planchets, die cracks, can command hundreds when the coin is in uncirculated condition. The combination of a historic year, no mint marks, and a relatively short-lived design era makes these coins a magnet for collectors. It's also worth noting that 1967 was a transitional moment in American culture as well as coinage. The country was in the middle of the space race. Cultural revolutions were underway, and money was shifting from the old silver standard to a modern clad era. In that sense, each quarter from this year is more than just currency. It's a tiny time capsule, struck in metal during a year of change. Holding one is like holding a piece of that story. And while seasoned numismatists know the ins and outs of these coins, the truth is anyone could find one. These quarters are still out there, still in circulation, still rattling around in change jars, parking meters, and vending machines. You don't have to be a professional dealer to spot something unusual. You just have to know what to look for. The hunt begins with the basics. Check the date. If you see 1967, slow down. Tilt the coin under a bright light and look closely at the lettering and numbers for doubling. Run your fingers along the rim. Feel for a clip or an unusual edge. If the color seems different, weigh the coin to see if it matches the standard clad weight. Even a coin with a strange feel might be a misstrike or struck through error, where a piece of debris was between the die and planchet during minting. The beauty of coin collecting is that it blends history, art, and detective work. Each discovery is a puzzle. Why was this coin different? How did it escape the mint? How many more might be out there? And every answer leads to a new question, a new reason to keep looking. The story of the 1967 Washington quarter is proof that even in the age of mass production, uniqueness still slips through. Every error, every anomaly, every perfect strike from that year is a piece of a larger narrative about how our coins are made, how they change over time, and how something as small as a quarter can become a link to the past that, the next time you get change, don't rush to spend it. Hold it up to the light. Look at the date, the details, the edges. Somewhere out there is another remarkable find waiting in plain sight. A coin that tells a story most people never notice. And maybe, just maybe, the next great discovery will be the one you're holding right now. The Salt River Bay quarter isn't just another coin in your change jar. It's a tribute to one of the most ecologically and historically significant places in the United States Virgin Islands. The design, released as part of the Beautiful Quarters program, captures the red mangrove in stunning detail, its canopy stretching skyward while its roots anchored deep into the submerged earth. Beyond its beauty, the quarter tells the story of a landscape shaped by centuries of natural resilience and human history, a site where prehistoric peoples thrived, European explorers made landfall, and where today, fragile ecosystems still survive. It's a coin born not only of art, but also of cultural storytelling. But here's where it gets fascinating for collectors, because among the millions minted in Philadelphia and Denver, a tiny fraction carry mistakes. And in the world of numismatics, mistakes are gold. Some 2020 Salt River Bay quarters feature double dies on the obverse, where subtle doubling can be seen in the inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust, giving the letters a shadowed, almost three-dimensional effect. Others have die chips, small raised metal blobs caused by damaged dies, which might appear on Washington's eye, mouth, or even on the delicate roots of the mangrove. A few show striking off-center errors, where the design shifts awkwardly into the coin's edge, leaving blank crescent-shaped metal on one side. And then there are the holy grails, wrong planchet strikes, where the design is mistakenly struck onto a coin blank intended for another denomination. Imagine finding one in your change, examining the details under a magnifying glass, and realizing you're holding something that the mint never intended to release. That's the thrill collector's chase. In some documented cases, high-grade error examples of the Salt River Bay quarter have fetched hundreds of dollars at auction, sometimes over $1,000 when the error is significant. The coin is in pristine condition, and bidding wars erupt between determined collectors. To understand why these errors matter so much, you have to step back into the minting process. Each quarter starts as a plain metal disc called a planchet. It's fed into a coining press between two engraved dies, one for the obverse, one for the reverse, and struck under immense pressure, transferring the design in sharp detail. In theory, this process is precise, with tolerances so fine that a single flaw should be caught before coins leave the mint. But reality isn't perfect. Dies wear down, shift slightly, or break. Blanks for different coins sometimes get mixed into the wrong hoppers. And when these small accidents go unnoticed, they create rarities. The 2020 Salt River Bay quarters also hold special intrigue because they're part of a short-run design. Unlike the Washington quarters of the mid-20th century that were minted for decades, these state and national park designs change every few months. Once the production window closes, that's it. No more will be made. That means any errors that escaped during that brief period become instantly finite, locked in history, never to be repeated. This scarcity, combined with a growing wave of collectors chasing modern errors, has made these coins far more sought after than many people realize. Auction records tell some incredible stories. One uncirculated Salt River Bay quarter with a dramatic off-center strike sold for over $800. Another, struck on a nickel planchet with perfectly clear partial design transfer, was hammered down at just over $1,500. Even smaller errors, like subtle doubling or extra metal from dyed chips, can push a coin's value from mere cents to $50 or $100 when the condition is excellent. The condition, or grade, is a key player here. A coin fresh from a mint roll, with its original luster and no signs of wear, can command exponentially higher prices than one that's been jostling in circulation for years. Professional grading services like PeaceGS and NGC can authenticate and encapsulate these coins, giving buyers confidence and sellers a clear market value. Beyond the monetary worth, there's something almost cinematic about these finds. Picture a retired teacher in Florida, idly sorting through a jar of change on her kitchen table. She pauses at the sight of the Salt River Bay design, something about the details catching her eye. Under a magnifier, she sees doubling in the lettering, something she remembers hearing about in a coin collecting video. Weeks later, she's holding a check from an auction house for $600. What began as a moment of idle curiosity turned into a small but life-brightening windfall. These moments are why coin collecting retains such an enduring magic. It's not just about metal and mint marks. It's about discovery, the idea that history and value can hide in plain sight, waiting for the right eyes to notice. The Salt River Bay quarter, with its rich symbolism and hidden rarities, is a perfect example of that magic. That if you have jars, drawers, or boxes filled with change, this is your invitation to look closer. Turn those coins over. Inspect them under good light. Look for doubling on the inscriptions, strange metal blobs that don't belong, or designs pushed awkwardly toward the edge. You might be holding a modern treasure without even realizing it. Collectors will tell you, the best finds often come from the least expected places. A grocery store cashier's till, a parking meter's change return, a forgotten roll of quarters in a desk drawer. Every Salt River Bay coin you encounter could be just another quarter, or it could be the one that tells a story, carries a slice of history, and holds a secret value far beyond its face. The next time one of these mangrove-bearing beauties passes through your hands, don't just spend it, study it. Because in the quiet spaces between everyday transactions, in the coins that clink without ceremony into our pockets, there are still treasures hiding, waiting for someone like you to discover them.